My name is Rhapsody and welcome back to Shadows over Loathing. And recall there is one additional thing I hadn't done here, which is purchase for myself 5 cotton candy. They're going to be important for getting something from SIT as well later on. So let's collate all of the things that we intend to do here in Ocean City. The Ocean City Boardwalk, that's part of where we are. The pounds of eggs from the sewers. That's gonna be a touch more difficult. To-do list with our side quests. Oh no, those were the side quests already. Okay, cool. I could have sworn there was another thing I was gonna do here. Maybe I'll remember it, maybe I won't. Just show me the map. There's the soda factory, of course, which is getting arsenic for the mainline quest as well. I believe Polycarp's has a manhole down in their basement. Well, this would be an unusual sight if you hadn't already seen it before. 4 Glocklins are playing their glockenspiels while doing some sort of traditional folk dance. I join in, and then ignore them. Adams is looking around bemusedly. What are you thinking about, Adams? Hi, Professor. How's it going? Why? This was yesterday. I should remember your voice. Why, I had not been so entertained since the development of infinitesimal calculus. That sounds about right. There is indeed a manhole down here. It's a very old manhole cover, which we open up. It leads down with a ladder. Close the shadow pocket with the shadow pliers. We place the jaws on the pliers and close them. This is an old stain, but it is a big one. This narrow pipe leads into a different part of the sewers. I yell into it. Thankfully, nobody answers. I mean, there's water here. Wait, hang on. A wise person said that fishing is a good use of time, but that person probably didn't have as much spare time as you. There's water here, and you have a fishing rod. Surely these things can be used together. Okay, you can just get different messages for that. It's not at different locations. A northern filth trout. Put that fish away in a sack, get some meat for it later. Abandoned goldfish. Makes sense. And a shadow bomb. That seems much more relevant. 13 spooky damage to all enemies. Very powerful right there. A Fishman casino. It looks like Fishman has set up a little casino. Fun. Let's play a game. The game seems to consist of throwing a handful of pebbles and rusty nails on the table. It's both very simple and very vague. I'm gonna watch for a while to see how it goes. The player next to you puts some Fishman eggs on the table. The croupier picks up the pebbles and nails and hands them to the player, who shakes them up and scatters them across the table. The croupier looks at the nails and pebbles and shakes his head. The player makes an argumentative noise and points at one of the nails. The croupier sighs and peers at it closer, then shakes his head defiantly as he takes the player's eggs. The player pouts. I'm gonna continue watching. You keep your eyes on the game, not exactly sure what's going on. The players count out some eggs and put them on the table. Then the dealer collects the nails and pebbles, hands them to the... Wait, hang on. Okay, new things happen. Then hands them to the player and waits as the player shakes them up and tosses them into the air. The croupier frowns and makes a sweeping gesture, then picks up the nails and pebbles and hands them back to the player. The player makes a grumbly bleh sound, then tosses them on the table again. The croupier nods at the player rather, who picks up one of the nails and carefully drops it again. He makes a satisfied bleh as the croupier adds a few more eggs to his pile. I keep watching again. The dealer looks at the other player, who then places another bed of eggs. The dealer hands the pebble and nails to the player, who kisses them, and then sends them flying onto the table. Oh, sorry, I legitimately thought the dealer hands the pebbles and nails to the player who kisses the dealer, and then sends the dealer flying on the table. No, it's not that. The player kisses the pebbles and nails they're about to roll. The croupier frowns and makes a sweeping gesture. We get another grumbly blur sound, and then the croupier inspects the nails and pebbles and shakes his head and picks up the player's eggs. The player grumbles wetly. I continue watching just to see how it's going on. The Fishman places more eggs on the table. The croupier passes more assorted objects to the gambler, who considers them for a moment and flings them upon the table. The croupier squints at the scattered objects, then ducks to the level of the table to get a better view. Then he shakes his head and takes away the player's eggs. Alright, let's try and make a bet here. You put some meat on the table. The croupier blinks at it, but doesn't object. He picks up the nails and pebbles and hands them over to you. You shake them up and drop them on the table. They bounce a little, but quickly come to rest. The croupier looks at them and nods at you. You carefully consider the arrangement of pebbles and nails, and choose a nail to retoss. When the nail comes to a rest, the croupier looks impressed. He adds piles of Fishman eggs to your meat and pushes them towards you. You won, apparently. Spiffy. I guess I probably just needed to focus on it long enough to know that I was gonna throw another nail afterwards. I'm still not entirely certain what the rules there are. Is that jacks, basically? Are they playing jacks fiddlesticks? Somebody had tried to class up the joint with some dead ferns. The plant in this pot looks very greasy. The bartender nods politely. I order a drink. He holds up a bottle of some kind of greenish brown liquid that you assume is mostly kelp juice and sewer moss squeezings. By a slug of whatever it is. The bartender pours out some of the liquid into a battered cocktail shaker and shakes it up with a handful of gravel, then pours it into an empty tin can. You got an item, the Fishman concoction. Increase your muscle and maximum AP by 1. A rinsed out tin can containing 3 fingers of liquid derived from stuff that grows in sewers. Which sounds gross, but how bad could it be, right? Probably pretty bad. This is the second drunkest Fishman you've ever seen. Absolutely cannot drink like a fish, that one. Let's find another basement. Is there a basement in Brewers? Dr. Adams spots a abandoned newspaper on a park bench and picks it up.
Aha! A modern newspaper! Economy soaring with no end in sight, it says. Things are just going to keep getting better forever. This is most encouraging.
Yeah, things have been going really well since the end of the Cold War. Lots of advances in technology and infrastructure, tons of people moving into the big cities, people are investing millions in the stock market, it just keeps going up and up. Basically, everything's going super well economically, and there's no sign that rampant unchecked speculation might cause any of that kind of problem. Or might ever cause any kind of problem.
That is marvelous news. I must comment, however, that Ocean City does not appear to be benefiting from this increased prosperity.
That's a little strange, isn't it? I guess it's something going on with local government, but I don't really get it. The rest of the country's doing great.
A minor slump, undoubtedly. I'm sure the situation will improve by and by.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's the Roaring Twenties, a period of unlimited wealth and profound social liberation. What could possibly go wrong?
Professor Adams' mysticality increases by 1. Alright, how's your bet? Whoa! You got some shadow pockets in here? I'll gain that 10 XP, thank you muchly. I'm also gonna go fishing in your bathtub if you don't mind. And if you do, well, I'm asking for forgiveness rather than permission. Shadow Clarinet, again for reducing all of the enemy stats by 13. Some Shadow Grease. And a Shadow Elixir for muscle and maximum HP by 1 and 11 respectively. Let's make absolutely sure, because this is an early game area. Just wander past a couple things and make sure that none of them need my continued interaction of any kind. Little thing says do not use phone. I mean, I probably don't. Yep. Don't need to do anything here. And there is no basement for me. Fridge Factory. I mean, I think the Fridge Factory or maybe Snackle Mills? One of the two factories, I think, does just have an outlet with a manhole, so that's already more of our fish row. As a psychogeologist, I find some glowing ooze at the ley line intersections here. A pool of chemicals. Pretty flower growing out of the industrial waste. Nice little metaphor over there. But at least we do have an open door, so we don't really need to muscle around with anything else. No? Booze is dangerous. The experimental lunch. No, this is not the one I am looking for. Maybe it was Snackle Mills. I'm gonna get a paperclip just in case it becomes relevant at any point in time. Squirm through with our Moxie. No, it doesn't seem like there would be that high of a requirement for a liquid outlet, I guess. We do shadow ply some things closed at the absolute least. Soda factory, I mean, we've not been there before, so possibly. As you're walking through Ocean City, you see a couple of stranded motorists trying to change a car tire. Their efforts aren't amounting to squat though, because they don't have a jack. I lift the car for them with my 5 muscles. Most people have like 200 and something. I've got 5 and they're enough. You hold the car up long enough for them to change the tire. Modern cars don't actually weigh all that much. Random stranger. Yeah. Guess that's probably not going to be too relevant either. If I recall, I checked Zimmers and regular. Goldthwaite's definitely got to have something. Operator, etc. We remember that dialogue from earlier. Buddy, do you want to just show me directly to the manhole? It'd make both our lives easier.
Reveal to me your outlet to the sewer. Reveal it to me.
Joshua Tree, named for its discoverer David E. Tree. Now, the sign about pointing rocks, yeah, does still have that speech that we don't understand. I may have to come back and translate that at some point as we understand more and more about the nature of the mystery of this world. I gained 9 meat for a little bit of fishing in here, despite the no fishing sign. I gained 11 meat for even more fishing here, despite the no fishing sign still, and 12 more meat. That time, I regarded and noticed the sign and then quickly disregarded it. So it still played a role in general. Okay, nothing with the butterflies. Maintenance department down into... There we go, that's what I'm looking for, baby! I close the weird shadow pocket and then I leave. Obviously, I'm kidding. I go back down for the manhole. It's a very old manhole cover. I open it up. Hobo code, though. 10 hobo code knowledge gets us the ability to see emergency ring behind this brick. You pull out the brick and sure enough, there's a ring behind it. It's a bottle cap ring. Oh, what? This ring has a bottle cap welded to it, capping the amount of damage you can sustain to that precise spot on your ring finger. You can't take more than 5 damage at once is the effect of that. Man, I really feel like I have combat potential out the wazoo. A side-marked ray fin, I believe we just called there. A filth herring for our fish in a sack. Gonna give us something from the shadow set? No, another northern filth trout. Underground Fishman bar. This Fishman is neither capable of nor interested in talking to you. This Fishman is the scaly, silent type. You don't seem to be able to get the bartender's attention. This Fishman came here to drink, not to talk to you. Oh, a barrel of olives! Fancy Dan would love to have this. If you could manage to sneak it out of here, I stuff it in my pocket with my 8 moxie. If this was a legitimate shop, you'd just have legitimately shoplifted. A barrel of olives, an overflowing font of pimento stuffed glory. Take it to the speakeasy. Will do. But we first have to query this fish man? Either a fishy looking guy or a guy looking fishy. Either way, it seems he's getting an angry drunk on. Talk to him. Hey buddy, what's up?
Who asked you?
He takes a couple of Fishman eggs out of his pocket and lobs them to the bartender.
Hey, give me another.
The bartender shoots him a side eye, although technically Fishmen are always doing that, and brings over another bottle of something. I ask him about his weird head. You pause, trying to think of a more diplomatic way to phrase that.
Say, I couldn't help but notice.
I ain't gotta take that from the likes of you. You what on me? I ain't gonna take nothing from nobody.
Yeah, you tell him, buddy.
Yeah, and another thing. Another thing.
Yeah, that's right, you said it.
That's why I said it. Hey, bartender, bring over one for my friend here.
He reluctantly pitches another couple eggs at the bartender, who reluctantly brings you a 41-ounce bottle of a foul-looking mug.
Is this Brian?
You think you can match me with a drink into the table?
Okay, I go for it.
Despite this being an obviously terrible idea, you manage to down 2.5 pints of raw seawater without throwing up. You immediately have a splitting headache. Your drinking buddy laughs at your pained expression.
Still standing up there, bartender, another round.
I keep going. You choke down another giant bottle of seawater. Despite the volume of liquid sloshing around inside of you, your mouth feels entirely dry and you're thirstier than you've ever been in your life. Someone is practicing jazz drum solos very nearby, possibly inside your skull.
Not bad, friend. Of course, I gotta start on you one more.
Keep going. You can literally feel your internal organs turning to jerky. The edges of your vision are going black. You manage to stay upright for just long enough to see the fish guy's head hit the table, and then you rifle through his pockets and stagger out the door with your mug still desperately clutched in one hand. Once you're done throwing up, you take a little nap. We got a nasty mug. An offhand item, the stains on the outside of this mug are almost as nasty as the stains on the inside of a toilet. Deals your mysticality and stench damage to your opponent and poisons them for 3. And Fishman row hundreds of lives in the palm of your hand. Disgusting, monstrous lives. Okay. Looks like nothing's changed here, despite I'm assuming death of that fish guy. Let's see where else we can find another one of the chop shop. I don't think so, but I may as well go visit. As you're walking past one of Ocean City's many disused public urinals, you notice it's been filled up with ice cubes, and that ice cube is a frozen rock which we crush into some flakes. This is a fishable spot. I recall readily. We get some shadow wine. Okay, that's probably going to be a moxie increase as well as 20% per item find or something like that. We got shadow salad. It would be funny if it weren't so terrifying. You increase your mysticality by 1 and the damage of your magical weapon attacks by 5. One more for the road, please. A Shadow Bomb, 13 damage to all enemies in combat, 13 spooky damage, that is. Big Liz gives you an annoyed but resigned look.
What do you need, boss? I'm sorry I tricked you out of your gang. It was a dirty trick, but it was by the book. I should have been more careful, that's all. See you later.
The shed doors are locked with the shed key. Are you kidding me? Did I just not come in here? Okay, let's search this for the first time. A shelf containing various greasy metal objects. I see if there's anything useful. There are! You select the most dangerous looking pieces of metals and pocket them. Get 2 anarchists' hardware, a battered toolbox, which I look inside, and get a crowbar! Another crowbar. You never know when you might need to pry open 2 things at once. There's a car door leaning against the wall, which I grab, and it's been converted to a shield. It's an offhand item, the chopped off car door. It's a car door with an arm strap welded to it. Deals your muscle in physical damage and reduces an opponent's mysticality by 3 once per fight. The poster says, antifreeze is delicious, but it's poison. Technically, so is alcohol, right? It's a do I want to make another bomb with these? Is that my kind of thing right here? Yeah, I'm gonna make a fancy combat item. I'm gonna get myself 10 physical damage to all enemies, nuclear bomb, and that's it. That's all I want. That's enough for me right now. A bunch of repair manuals for cars you never heard of. Except One of the books is about weapons instead of cars. Welding and Wielding. Welding and Wielding, Advanced Weapon Repair and Do-It-Yourself Defense by Tig Fluxcore. Teaches advanced weapon repair techniques. Uh-oh. You read the book. Huh. Turns out you're supposed to repair weapons after using them for a while. Who knew? You got a perk. Weapon Repair Aware. You know enough about weapon repair to tell when it's needed, but not quite enough to do anything about it. The weapon durability system is unlocked. Cool. You go to put the book away, but realize that with your newfound knowledge, that its spine is broken beyond repair. So you throw it away. Hey buddy? Yeah. Where 0 out of 17. Did I just make my life infinitely harder by unlocking a system? Excuse me? Yeah, I've worn my projectile ice maker a heck of a lot. Oh boy. Let's see what happens with that, I guess. Can I make like repair items or anything of the sort? Nothing there seems to be that. Excuse me, I appear to have completely unplugged my monitor headphones there, apologies. An old school blacksmith's anvil. This must be where they work on the really vintage cars. This car has not been noticeably chopped up yet. I look inside. The doors are locked. Dang it. I jimmy the lock with a wire coat hanger. You unlock the car, ruining both the lock and the hanger in the process. The glove compartment, however, is full of meat. I have 183 unspent exp, which I can no longer use on actual levels, so it's time for us to go over to our books and make sure that we've completed these appropriately. So what I'm really looking for, yeah, Soothing Flute, let's just upgrade that. Are you ready to stop laughing, study the charts of, I'm serious, fingerings? If you do, Soothing Flute will heal 2 additional HP per round. I'll just upgrade that. I'm gonna describe this as dryly as possible because you clearly don't deserve jokes anymore. You study the chart and improve your skull. Soothing Flute has been upgraded. You discard the book in a non-humorous way. Okay. How dare you. I was entitled to a joke there. Clutch the book even tighter. If you do, Jazz Hands will increase your moxie by 2 more. I upgrade it. You hold on tightly to the book, letting it shake your hands until you become worried that you'll also develop a case of Jazz Eyes. Jazz Hands has been upgraded. You go to put the book back in your sack, but your shaky hands cause you to drop it into a bonfire instead. Ah, well. That's how it goes. You win some, you burn some in a bonfire accidentally. Classic saying. Tale as old as time. No additional car repair needs to be taken on this chassis. No, nothing I could accomplish. So we've checked baristas, we've checked, I mean, heck, I feel like I have checked everywhere is the thing about that. And I feel like that can't be true though. So, Oh, I remember one of them now, finally. It's in the bottom of the newspaper. Make absolutely certain that nothing has happened new or that needs to be resolved in any way, shape, or form. No. I don't think there will be, mind. But like, these are the locations that I went to so early on in the game that if there is, I would not remember it, of course not. Is there anything about any of these dates that I care about right now? None in particular. Let's go through the trap door, getting into the basement. That's what we're looking for. A very old manhole cover. I open it and climb down. The old sewer under the watchful eye. Let's get to some fishing. Get some fish for the sack, as well as maybe a shadow item. Excuse me, shadow meat immediately. That's a potion that increases your meat drops by 70%. This is what the anti-Vikings drank. Fishman sack, a stink ray, just a basic type there. Another stink ray. You step through the hole in the wall and down a short tunnel and emerge in front of a whole crowd of yelling fishmen. This almost sends you into a panic until you realize they aren't yelling at you. They're yelling at two fishmen pummeling each other in a boxing ring. Looks like you've discovered a literally underground fighting ring. Huh. Okay. This guy's completely focused on the fight. This guy's completely focused on the fight. This guy's completely focused on the fight. They're all completely focused on the fight. The first rule is glub glub glub. The second rule is also glub glub glub. Damn it. I said that out loud. This guy looks almost human, apart from the gill flaps and the big fishy lips. He's either commentating the boxing match or practicing to be a world-class gargler. I talk to him.
Hey, we don't get many humans down here. You in a battle fight?
I ask about fighting. So, can I join in on the fighting?
Sure, kid, sure you can. Only what was bare knuckles only, no weapons. Plus, this is the title bout. We can't interrupt it. Sharky and Tommy have been going 21 rounds already, so if you want to fight, you gotta jump in there and beat both of them for the title.
So what do I get if I win? He holds up a large, tarnished brass championship belt, which is also heavily encrusted with glistening fish eggs. No weapons allowed! What? I need those! I ask about betting. How does betting work?
But it's a bet on the next one that if the fighter big wins it, I play. Listen, human, I'm assuming you're betting me. I can cover that within reasonable amounts.
It's round by round? Not the whole match?
No, we got no idea how long this fight's gonna go. Can be done.
Straining so hard to make this guy's voice different to the last guy that looked exactly like him in a previous location. Place a bet. You know what? Nothing. I'm gonna beat the snot out of him personally. I don't even need a weapon. I do need companions. That's gonna be important. Spooky armor. I probably care less about spooky armor and more about stench armor here. Stench armor for a little bit of safety. Chopped off car door seems reasonable. The extra AP per round also seems pretty helpful here. Let's do it. Fight.
Okay, at your funeral, what's your name?
Ryan who?
A new challenger approaches. Facing Jack the Sharky and Tommy Loggin for the champion bell in round 21. It's Ryan Chumbuckadoo.
Hey!
Good luck to you, good need it.
I get in the ring. Alright, well, I can slap you for 11 damage. What I really need to do is reduce the effectiveness of y'all. They intend to punch me for sleaze damage. That's not stench damage. I'm not defended well against that. You've only got a Sacks of Violence off. I mean, look, it seems like it'd be kind of relevant. Doesn't seem like it'd be incredibly relevant, though, you know? That said, my familiar's not in the fight. I'm gonna continue to reduce the incoming damage from this one target. Their muscle is still really, really hampered there. So if I now change target and reduce your muscle ridiculously, now do I just have, you know, effectively free reign over this battlefield? No one has enough muscle to really deal damage to me anymore? Seems to be the case. Alright, let's drop a Orchestra Strike on you. They are regaining some of their muscle round by round, but as long as I respond with a Piano Crush, basically ever, we're all good. And in fact, all's well that has ended well. You win! The announcer grudgingly gives you the championship belt. You scrape the eggs off of it and stash it in your sack. You get 15 experience, you get Fishman row, you also got the item, the championship belt. Accessory, +5 to melee weapon attacks. Punch a man a fish and he'll thank you. Teach a man to punch a fish, and someday he might win a belt like this one. Tommy and the shark pick themselves up and go back to pummeling each other. Probably just for something else to do. Professor Adams tells you some boring facts about the foes you just defeated. Professor Adams, I guess, is a huge fan of this underground fighting ring. Just happens to know all of the trivia about it. Hey, buddy. He gives me a big glassy wink.
Get it in you, glue.
Look, I'm gonna place a bet now and see how that goes. Place a bet, place 25 me on Sharky. Bell rings and the fighters approach one another.
Round 23, let's go, glue.
The two fighters leave their corners carefully, sizing each other up. Tommy surprises Sharky with a left hook. Sharky blocks high, but Tommy slams him in the gut. He jumps back trying to dodge. Tommy lands a hard uppercut right to Sharky's jaw. He looks dazed. Tommy smashes Sharky right in the solar plexus, knocking the wind out of him. Sharky topples like a felled tree. The bell rings and Sharky loses. Well, you can't win them all. Let's try again. 25 meat on Tommy this time. I lose it, of course. As the fight, the two fighters charge furiously at one another. Tommy punches Sharky straightforwardly in the face. Sharky smashes Tommy with a hard right hook, and Sharky surprises Tommy with a left hook. He jumps back, trying to dodge, and then Sharky punches Tommy in the face really hard. I think we're being rustled. Yep. Wait, never mind. Never mind. You can actually win. I figured at the end of 4, what are we? 12.5% chance that I happen to bet on the wrong fighter every single time if there's 50-50 odds. Regardless, he doesn't seem to give us any specific prize for having won that bet, so we don't need to continue trying to do it. An ominous, vaguely person-shaped spot on the ground. Where else have I needed fuses? Where else have I been in basements? Anything Securibus at all? No, not at all. I do have some things that I also need to hand back into Murray. Well, when I say Murray, I do mean Murray's Antiques rather than Murray himself. You hang your poster up, making your space seem even more like a messy dorm room. That's how I like it. You set up Rufus's hot plate on your desk. Convenience, thy name is science. Hello, you awful little creature. Rufus's hot plate is here, ready to go. Okay, right. So that's just the ability to craft in our base. Fixes Unity. I mean, I guess that's one of the ones that I prefer. A fresh briefcase sits atop the nightstand along with a fresh note. I take and read. The note reads, Ryan, congratulations on the successitude of your shaking down. You will be concatenated with another request in due timeliness, DT. You got an item, a briefcase full of meat. Hell yeah, buddy. 400 meat, that's a lot of gabagool. Legitimately extremely handy. We needed so much meat, basically. I feel like everyone that I am interacting with as a shopkeeper, I am leaving items with that I would prefer to not. You check the message pad next to the phone, there's a note for you. Call Don T with a phone number, I call the mob back. You dial the number. Upon auditorially processing the alert bell from this telephonic device, I have answered it.
Come on, Don, dial it back a notch.
As it is you who have dialed my number, I do not entirely understand the nature of your request, Ryan Who.
All right. Anyway, what do you need?
Our observationalists have reported that you have, or will have soon, become operational within Porkham,
and the locus of the educational institution and facility known as the Seaside Institute of Technologification.
I don't think I care for being observationalized.
Our agents are quite discreet and unobtrusive. They will not hinder your activities.
That's not the problem.
Would you preference they take a more active role?
No! Also, why'd you pronounce it like that? Forget it. What's the job?
The specific task we require of you is too sensitival to communicate to you in a telephonial manner. Please proceed to the luncheonette Fish and Chips, whereupon you will meet with one of our operatives who is known by the sobriquet Greasy Steve. You will recognize him.
No, that's fine. I'm pretty sure I'll know him when I see him.
Then, fortuitous chance upon your objective.
I hang up on Don T. It's Charles Wallace. You don't need to help me with anything. It's the Uncursing machine.
Excuse me?
The cursed fishing rod can get uncursed? I thought it was only the quest items. I uncurse the fishing rod. The machine winds up, whirring and humming at odd intervals, casting about for some elusive frequency. This continues for some time, and you begin having difficulty breathing, just as you fear you might pass out from the incessant cycling. Suddenly, stops with a pop. The curse has been removed, and you can breathe once again. You got an item, the Accursed fishing rod. Stripped of all eldritch magic and mysteric, the once cursed fishing rod is now perfectly banal. Actually, it looks pretty lousy, which doesn't really matter much because the line was dismissed along with the curse. The line was dismissed? Can I not use this now? The fishing rod's curse now swims in the very depths of the machine, daring any astral fisherman to come down and get it. I will do that in the next episode, but until then, my name has been Rhapsody, the name of the game has been Shadows Over Loathing. Top left is a series playlist, YouTube recommendation down below, stream past the names of the people so generously supporting the Republic on patreon.com/RhapsodyPlays, and above the thank you, and a special thanks this episode to Eloise. Hopefully you all have been enjoying yourselves, hopefully see you all next time.